Thanks, Diki, and good afternoon, everyone. We'll be taking turns. First, I will talk a little bit about avatars, and then my colleague Fabian will talk about a very cool project that they're implementing at Mercedes-Benz. So I've been working on realistic avatars for about 7 years now, and it's kind of been a dream of ours and many others to implement this interaction of people over the internet with their digital representations in 3D, which is like brings so much emotional connection, right? Because like when you can see another person look in the eyes and you have a sense of 3D, like anyone who had a social experience in VR knows that this is a transformative thing. And this can be very productive interaction, it can be fulfilling, it can be fun. However, we are still talking over Zoom, right? So there's obviously some challenges on the way to implementing interaction with realistic avatars. What are they? Like, obviously, it's not funding, right? There we go. One of the biggest drivers of any 3D is gaming market, and while it recently had a few hiccups, like it's projected to grow steadily, there is no shortage of funding, and obviously, like if there's a good application, there's enough funding there, and it's not just gaming market, it's like all kinds of things where consuming increasingly more 3D media. When we are watching a movie, like there's all kinds of 3D effects there. We're getting more and more content over VR, although not as much as we people in this audience would love to. And there's e-commerce and there's so many other applications. So obviously, there is some demand in creating realistic avatars and enabling this kind of interaction of people with them. One obvious hurdle is that somehow you need to collect data, right? If you want to have a realistic representation of a person, you need to somehow capture the person's identity. And Hollywood has solved this problem. They're using photogrammetry booths like this. And you can guess it's incredibly expensive, and you cannot run every consumer or every employee of your company through this kind of device, and it captures way more data than people would like to. So basically, an alternative is just one selfie, okay? And how much information can you capture from one selfie? Like, we don't know. Obviously, you probably can get a likeness of a person. Can you guess how a person is moving from just one selfie? What are the, like, emotions? Can you convey personality through just one selfie? Given that we are the largest independent provider of realistic avatars, we kind of tried to go this way, just to make our tool available for everybody. And we are, I guess, doing okay, but that's unfortunately not the only hurdle that is there on the way. So there's this axis, right? You want to collect a selfie or you want to collect a short video, and on the other axis there's photogrammetry, and maybe somewhere in the middle is something that we want. And then the second challenge that is really important is how do you animate an avatar? And it's making the animation realistic is an incredibly complicated problem. Like, there is no automatic way to do that. Every game development pipeline. It has motion capture system followed by some manual post-processing. And again, like there's expensive body motion capture suits that you can use. They still require some post-processing, but way less than whatever you're doing with a single camera. And then the third challenge is what kind of level of realism do you want to use in the avatar? Like if you go to hyper-realistic avatars, the further away you go to the right, the more challenging it is to make this avatar look nice. Because we people look at a lot of faces. We are trained to capture very small, minor details. And so on this scale, like we at some point made a decision not to go hyper-realistic. We decided to stay with recognizable avatars that are visibly not hyper-realistic, but they are recognizable in the sense that if your friend creates an avatar and you look at that avatar, you would know that's your friend. And basically, this is intimately connected with the question of how people like this avatar, how they perceive it. And there's a famous term for that that's called Uncanny Valley, which is, I think everybody in the room knows that. The term was invented in the 70s by a robotics professor, Mr. Mori, and he was basically stating that when you move from something that is not like a human to something that is like a human, at some point, people get this very weird feeling, which is disgust. And this feeling actually grows when this object is animatable, or it's moving. Like, for example, if it's just a static corpse, we have a mild fear. If it's a zombie, we have huge fear. That's widely exploited by computer games. And Uncanny Valley is a very popular term. Everybody knows it. And basically, every time people don't like some art, they say it's Uncanny Valley. I can give you a small sampling of that. So this is an image created by the latest Stable Diffusion, which I think it's perfect. Somebody on Twitter obviously named it Uncanny Valley. This is from Vision Pro. Obviously, there were some people who said it's Uncanny Valley. This is some cartoony art that, again, somebody said it's Uncanny Valley. Getting more cartoony art, still Uncanny Valley. Getting even more cartoony, still Uncanny Valley. And yeah, this is also Uncanny Valley. So we kind of had to study this, right? We read all the papers about Uncanny Valley and we talked to researchers, and there's a few surprising things that I want you to be aware of about Uncanny Valley. So let me do a short quiz. So how many of you think that cartoonish avatars can fall into Uncanny Valley? Just raise your hands. Okay, how many people think they usually do not fall into Uncanny Valley? Okay, most people do. So yes, they can. So the way you can get a cartoony avatar into an Uncanny Valley is by mismatching the level of detail in the avatar. For example, between mesh and texture. So you have sharp edges in mesh, you have very diffuse, blurry, diffuse texture. That would be very this would make an uneasy feeling in a lot of people. The same goes for different parts of texture. For example, if you synthesize the facial texture with Stable Diffusion and then you make the eyes with parametric computer graphics model, and so the eyes are sharp, the rest is not sharp. That also puts the model into the Uncanny Valley. And its measurable effect, it can, basically there's a paper that measured that on focus groups. Another question, do you think that unrealistic but recognizable avatars fall into Uncanny Valley? Who thinks yes? Okay, who thinks no? Okay, not necessarily. There's research done by, co-authored by our advisor, Jeremy Bellinson, the head of Stanford VR Lab, that shows that, so basically what they did, they created an avatar that was not photorealistic, but it was recognizable to resemble a person, and they put it in VR, and they measured the response of people, and they didn't measure this effect, okay? Is uncanny valley reaction in human genetic or learned? So this question is obviously about, like, if it's learned, then it can be unlearned easier, right? Than if it's built in our core. So how many people think it's a result of evolution, so genetic? Okay, how people think it's learned? Okay, so most people think it's genetic. Probably both. There is a research paper by Trinity College in Ireland that says that the intensity of the uncanny valley effect depends on a lot of different variables. And one of the most interesting variables is, so they basically took a sample of people, just generic, and then a sample of people playing computer games. And people playing computer games, they had a much weaker reaction to something that we consider uncanny valley. So it means, and the explanation is obviously, they look at so many 3D art, some of which is obviously questionable, that they kind of get accustomed to it, okay? But there's also a lot of dependency on different parameters. So maybe there's a genetic component, but also it can be, it's affected by our experience, definitely. Last question, is uncanny valley effect stronger if the avatar mirrors a person? So if you sit in front of a computer and there's an avatar there, and it's either static or it moves with your face, like when you talk, it repeats exactly your facial expressions. So who thinks that movement in this case amplifies the uncanny valley? Okay, who thinks not? Great, so most people think it does. No, there's research by the same group from the Trinity College that basically put people in front of a computer, and the avatar was mirroring their facial expressions, and the effect was weaker. And the explanation there is that when it's a zombie, it's something that we don't control. We don't know what to expect from it. Like, it's moving weirdly, it's breaking our expectation all the time. We get fear. If we know this object is mirroring us, we have a level of control over it. And so the fear is less intense, okay? So we kind of walk onto this edge of uncanny valley all the time, falling into it occasionally, with avatar SDK. And we're trying to do like all kinds of different projects, pretty successful. I think in a lot of different areas, in games, metaverse, a lot of our customers are in AR, VR, including a lot of enterprise applications that are internal to the company. And we build this system that creates avatars from images, and there's a lot of customization to it, which is not here. They use the early version. Anyway, basically, you can see a sample of avatars that here, like the input photos and the images, they they look similar, right? And we get that a lot from customers. They make a photo and then they say, wow, this avatar looks like me. But then when this avatar starts to move and face gets animated with blend shapes that we provide, this magic goes away. And that's been something that we've been battling for a long time. So now we think that we finally, like, maybe not have the final solution, but we made a step, or I would say a leap towards it. So let my avatar talk a little bit.
The T3D team has come up with the next generation facial motion capture that allows realistic facial animations of a 3D model.
We train a neural network on a few minutes long video of a person talking on camera. Based on this video, we reconstruct the person's avatar. Then, given another video, we can synthesize realistic animations. The neural network generates mesh and textures on each frame based on the test video input.
So the real video taken with the mobile phone camera is on the left, and my avatar is on the right. So it can track my facial movements, speech articulations, facial expressions. So I can go to a beach and can be represented by my avatar in meetings, which is pretty cool.
So basically what we are releasing, and this is the first time we announced it actually, we released the Avatar SDK Leap, which is a realistic facial motion capture tool. You can use our app on the iPhone to record a short video, and that video would be enough to create an animation sequence that you can import into Unreal Engine using our Unreal Engine plugin and render it in any scene. In future, we plan to support videos taken with regular cameras. Right now, we are taking advantage of the True Depth camera in iPhones. It's available for Windows as a beta. You can send us email or go to avatarsdk.com/leap to get on a wait list. And now I'm going to stop, and I'm going to welcome Fabian on stage, who's going to talk about a cool use case of implementing a system where people can interact with avatars. Fabian?
Okay, yeah, great. Thank you very much, Victor, for your introduction. So I'm Fabian from Mercedes-Benz Tech Motion, which is one of the many sub-companies of Mercedes-Benz. And we have been using Avatar SDK in a couple of projects. And there's one project I'm allowed and willing to share with you right now, which is the so-called Mercedes-Benz Art Collection. It's pretty interesting because probably most of you don't know that, and I also didn't know this a few months ago. Mercedes-Benz has its own art collection with, paintings and photographies and sculptures and so on. So like physical paintings. And this department asked us recently whether we are, able to create a virtual environment so that everyone can join this platform and explore those art pieces. And today I'm going to show this to you. All right, so one core component of this platform are the 3D avatars, powered by Avatar SDK, obviously. And this is one of the core components because we want that the user can walk around with their personal avatar, with their personal face, and so on. And before I come to the details, I just give you a very brief overview of how this museum looks like. All right, so we have it's pretty basic. We have a couple of rooms. So one room for photography, for car-related stuff, for classics. We have one video room. And we built this in this environment. So as you can see, it's kind of easy. So we use the so-called white cube gallery style. Maybe you are familiar with that because a lot of museums are looking kind of similar to that. And okay, let me show you the avatars. So this is Timo, my colleague, who's also the product owner of this platform. And so if the user wants to have, or if the user wants to join this platform, there is basically two ways. So first of all, they can choose a default avatar, which is a bit boring because we hope they choose their personal avatars. And yeah, that's the second way. They choose the personal avatars. And the procedure is pretty simple. Like Victor has introduced, you just grab your phone and you take a selfie. And this selfie is then uploaded to the clouds and converted into a 3D model. And well, that's how it looks like in the end. So you have your personal avatar. It's kind of cool. Maybe. Okay, and you can see, you can just walk around there and explore this museum. So this is the video room, and my colleague Timo is now walking into that room, and you can interact with a lot of things, like you can open PDF files within this game, or you can watch videos. So in this case, the video room includes a video that you can watch. Yeah, this is like just one part of the museum actually. So, and apart from the videos, we also have like others art pieces like photographies, and yeah, you can interact with them. So get information and so on. And yeah, actually this is still like a MVP basically. So we have been recently starting this, but yeah, we just wanted to show this with you on stage today. And there's one very last slide I would like to share with you. So we have also been working on AI-powered avatars. So we do not only use the avatar SDK for the user itself, so for our own avatars, but we also placed some NPCs basically into this game. Just like in the real museum, we want that the player can ask the staff some questions like, hey, please tell me something about this art piece or about Pablo Picasso or whatever. And those assistants are right now capable of answering those questions, which is pretty great. And yeah, the technology is also pretty straightforward. So we use 3 technologies, which is, the first one is text-to-speech, one LLM like ChatGPT, and one text-to-speech output. So yeah, it's kind of straightforward. So I ask a question. This question is put into or converted into a text string. This text string is then processed by ChatGPT or any other LLM, and this output in the third step will be put into this text-to-speech software. So in the end, this avatar can listen to us, it can process information, and it can talk to us. And of course, we can have follow-up conversations, so it's kind of fun to interact with those assistants. Yeah, that's basically the short demo I would like to show with you. And yeah, thank you so much also from my side. And I don't know, do you have a last word? Or thanks.
Huge thanks to Victor and Fabian. We've not got a huge amount of time, but if there's 1 or 2 questions, we might speak. I've got plenty of questions. I suspect you guys might. If directly to the mic there.
Why do you think that the deep fake works so better than the 3D avatar?
You mean then the standard blendshape-based animation?
Yeah.
Technically, the difference is that we are synthesizing mesh and texture on each frame using AI. And this makes it more challenging to bring it to real time compared to blend shapes. But it's very hard to build a set of blend shapes that's personalized and captures identity of a person, even from a video. I mean, it's not just about the Like imagine, for example, when you smile, when you raise your eyebrows, there are some wrinkles on your forehead. Like to do that with computer graphics is very hard. It's really challenging problem that usually 3D artists do manually in computer games. Synthesizing individual wrinkles for a person is a problem that's not solved. With AI, we can just bake that into the diffuse texture and it looks great. Obviously, some 3D artists would be unhappy about that because like it's not in the shape but in the texture. But for many use cases, that would really solve the problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. One last question.
So in the video, you showed the input was just a simple facial video, a short video, and then it was a facial animation of the avatar. But then on the avatar animation, we could see that.
Can you speak closer to the mic,
yes,
please?
in the video, like the last video, what you showed, the hands of the avatar was also moving. So where the hand movement is coming from?
So the movement for the body is a result of applying some animations in a semi-manual fashion. So the body right now is animated using a 3D artist.
So you just do it manually in Unreal?
Yeah, so the product is solely, at this point at least, the product is solely for the facial animation.
Okay,
facial animation was done fully automatically.
Thank you very much.
All right, Victor, Fabian, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.